Good morning or evening, gentlemen, and welcome to day 2 of our Coronageddon, which I am considering day 2 because Mr. O'Brien wasn't clear in his instructions for Monday and Tuesday. I mean, obviously things were confusing. So I put together a lesson plan for yesterday, and it's really simple. So if you have not yet done it, please do so, or have not yet looked it over. All you need to do is log into that discussion post, read the information, try to answer the questions, watch the video, because that's going to give you context for everything that's happening in this unit that we're going to have. Okay, so I want to give you a quick rundown on what's happening in the instructions today. But first, a little bit of discussion about the world situation. So this is as time of March 10th at 9 p.m. The big news from today is that Italy is completely quarantined, which has never happened in the history of modern history, certainly not outside of, certain games that everybody's referencing, which I have not played. I actually really want to play Pandemic, but now I guess I have to every day. So Italy is completely quarantined, largely because of the immense and rapid spike of cases that they've had and the fact that people keep moving around within the country outside of local quarantine zones. Now, while this is very interesting with a capital I, there are reasons that people are hypothesizing as to why Italy has had such a rapid and dramatic rise in cases and a dramatic rise in deaths, especially as compared to what we've seen so far in China and South Korea. The main difference is that if you think back to our discussions about ecology, the demographics of Italy are very different than the demographics of China and South Korea. Italy, on average, has a very older population. So if you think of those population pyramids, the higher cohorts, there's a lot more older people in Italy than the younger cohorts as compared to other countries. I don't know the specifics of China offhand. I believe that they're also a younger population. I do know that South Korea is definitely a younger population. Their highest cohort bracket is in people in their 30s and 40s. So what we've been seeing is that people in their around 30s, 40s and below tend to be doing much better with the virus than older people. So that's why it's very concerning if you have an older population, then you need to be taking it much more rapidly, or taking it much more seriously, much more rapidly than other ones that may be able to handle it better with younger people. Also, Italy has a lot of tourism. Funny that. So they're very concerned about people coming in and going out and being like a point of acceleration for the whole planet. Anyway, so back to what we're working on our unit today. So we have, if you're looking at the agenda or looking at it after you watch this, there is a lot of stuff because we're getting into some important groundwork content for everything else that I want to talk about in this unit. First off, I have a link to a very good video from the YouTube series I really like, Moeba Sisters. I posted a couple of their videos so far. They seem really, cutesy and fun with the animation and the little jokes and stuff, and they are. But they're also very, very good. They're very, very to the point. I really like the way that they phrase some concepts. I've actually adjusted how I explain some concepts based on what I've seen them do. So highly recommend their videos. This video that I've posted from them is a good video on study tips and maintaining motivation when you're more self-directed in your learning. They were kind of talking about it in terms of people who use their videos to review for tests. But right now, obviously, you are really being put on the spot for self-motivation. So this is a very good short video that talks about, talks about their videos, but it's good general strategies for any online videos or online learning in general in terms of reading or any learning in general. Specifically about asking yourself questions as you go, try to connect it to big picture topics. Throw it on the ground. Some of the main big picture topics that I've given to you to keep in mind, to look at for today specifically, are what is DNA? What is RNA? How do these molecules store and transport information in the cell? Really what we're looking at is information, which is, what we're going to see a lot in terms of how DNA is structured and used is very similar to how information is used in a computer. But instead of being like this abstract concept of bits and bytes and electricity moving through transistors, DNA is a physical molecule that has information stored in that molecule. Almost like a key has information in it, technically, that allows it to open a lock. The physical information in DNA is read by the cell to do stuff, which is pretty amazing because it took us a long time to figure out how that happens. Information stored and transported in the cell. How is DNA replicated? This connects us back to mitosis. There's a nice little bridge there. And how do we make sure there are no mistakes? Because that's important with information, is making sure that you keep it mostly consistent throughout. And also, one of my favorite topics, what is PCR and how is it being used to fight coronavirus? And a lot of the stuff I've been reading and like things I've been listening to, people are kind of mentioning PCR, PCR, PCR. And I'm like, great, because that ties into what we're talking about here. So we're going to understand what it is. And I've got a cool article that I found that talks about how it's being used right now. Spoiler alert. It's a technology that's used to amplify DNA, specifically making more copies of DNA, so that you can start with one small sample of DNA, even like one individual chunk of DNA strand, and you can copy it to get a much larger sample size to do research on, to get a better sense of like being able to be much easier to read it when you have a whole bunch of these molecules rather than just one. So PCR is being used to, I don't know, take samples from people and then see what virus DNA they have. That's science. Wow, my face is really blown up. There's a couple assignments to work on. There are 2 shorter videos with some multiple choice questions about that video. And then there's a progress quiz that's, again, multiple choice questions to reflect on some of the stuff you've been looking at. There's a couple Moeba Sisters videos to look at as well. A lot of this information in these assignments duplicates itself, like DNA, duplicates itself to kind of like help reinforce this, like, you know, explain it in a different way. So if you're feeling like, I feel like I already heard this, you are. It's, you know, it's just being presented in multiple formats to see what works best for you. As of yet, there are no graded assessments. As you saw, we have extended the time. The Archdiocese specifically has extended the close time by basically by 1 week, kind of like one set of days, basically for our A/B schedule. We're going to see how that goes. Thank you for everybody who gave me feedback on my videos. I'm watching it as interesting. Apparently, I have a bad habit of going. That's not good audio recording, but again, I'm not really good with this. But we're trying. So, if you have questions, I'm thinking about starting a discussion post so that if you have questions about this material, you can post it there so everybody can see it and see my responses to it. I will be online tomorrow during most of the day. I am involved in a Schoology conference to help put out by the company Schoology to give us, it's basically like a webinar to give us information on like some tips and tricks to use Schoology for this thing, because as you've probably heard, a lot of schools are starting to shut down around the country temporarily. So let's see if we learn some new tricks. Anyway, so I'll be around. If you have specific questions about grades or whatever, you can email me. I went on campus, or we were allowed on campus today to get books and materials and anything we need from our classrooms before they do a deep clean of it tomorrow. I did pick up a couple assignments that people had turned in, including a couple tests that were in my box in the faculty room. So I'll try to get all the grades uploaded. Third quarter already ended. I'll also grade the mitosis videos. I'm sure they will entertain me greatly. Anyway, so thank you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. And thank you for washing your hands. Keep it up.